Well, good evening, everybody. I'm glad of this opportunity to be able to give a brief report for Oceania. But just firstly of all, can I say a huge thank you to everyone for their prayers for my health, which is not great at the moment. And but let me encourage you to keep praying. I've started treatment, which will go for about 6 months. But yeah, we're just praying that God will do a good work with that. But thank you for your support. Let me just bring you some highlights of what's been happening in Oceania. The first picture you can see there is we had in March this year, we had an amazing regional conference here in Sydney, or Wollongong rather, and we had the leaders from the various nations come, the chairman and the NBSs, and it was probably the best conference we've had. On the next slide we'll see we had, as I said, national leaders and board chairmen and so on. But it was a terrific time of great fellowship, planning, encouragement and vision catching, and probably the best we've had so far. People were excited and they went home with action plans and things that they needed to do. So we're very grateful to God for that opportunity earlier in the year. Just a quick list of some of the things that we covered during that time were how to develop better leadership, how we can assist your nations, that is the adoption process, which I'll share a little bit later, how to help churches partner better, how to help pastors to be stronger in their development of their ministry. So it's ongoing. Ron Tyler came across and did a great one-day workshop for the coaching, which was excellent, and the people who were there were kind of really appreciative of what Ron taught. We also had a very special morning with the Director of Australia, Microlend Australia. We've been talking about fundraising in our other meetings, and like pig farming, bee farming and so on. And he had a computer model which was outstanding to show us how to develop a proper ministry, and a successful one. But that was quite intriguing and I think very helpful. We looked at things like how to do better promotion, goal setting, how to develop national boards, and then we sent some recommendations for the next Congress. At the end we got people to write down, I think there's about 8 recommendations which you have. So it was a busy week and well received by the local churches we had an open night, and it was a good time. Going to Vanuatu, some really good news. We've now appointed the Reverend Simon Lovo as the new national leader for Vanuatu. He's an amazing man. He's a pastor with some 20 years experience and has worked in pretty much most of the islands in Vanuatu. And he has attended our 6-week training course in Fiji, and he is an able teacher and leader, and Rod's going across to conduct Simon's introduction service later in September, which will be an important event for them. They really want that to happen, so it's kind of really official, but he's right into the job, so we're very thrilled about that. But just going back a little bit earlier in the year, just some things that happened. You may recall there was a very serious cyclone that went right through Port Vila, and a lot of damage was done. And so funds were raised from the USA through EE, and then Australia and Malaysia. And so we're able to distribute some food. In one photo you can see there, we went up to a small group of people whose settlement had been totally wiped out. And we were able to take some food. And while we're there, the gospel was proclaimed. One of the local pastors shared the gospel with them. In the town, there was opportunities to do street witnessing with our field workers, and also afforded us the opportunity to do some refresher training. I've just had some new photos just come in. We're able to purchase a lot of roofing iron. A lot of the major damage were roofs being ripped off, and so the roofing has just arrived and they started to put it up, and they were very grateful for that support. Going to Papua New Guinea, one of the because of the something like 8 million people who live in Papua New Guinea, and most live in remote villages in the highlands, and the weavers training is being experimented with, or more than that, and a workshop was held last November. You can see the stats there on the screen, and in 2015 there's another move for the further development of weavers for PNG. Elise came across around the workshop with another leader and Pam, our MBS, but it was well received, and they're planning again for this year. The other exciting thing about New Guinea is we had a young man from New Guinea came across to Fiji for our 6-week course. His name is Romad, and he was an outstanding young man, probably early 20s, I think about 26, able teacher, leader, just amazing for someone so young, and also working with the previous field workers who was trained similar to him last year. So they're working as a team, and I think the quality of our field workers is getting better as we go along. So we're very encouraged by Romad. New Zealand. One of the exciting things that happened earlier this year was that a small team and myself went across to the Cook Islands, which New Zealand are adopting or assisting to get EE started, and it was an amazing time. It was all a little bit back to front, but they actually organised a very large clinic, way too big, and it was only run at night, so there were a lot of obstacles, but in the end, it kind of worked. You can see in the photos some of the older ladies learning the book illustrations very enthusiastically, and as Anne Bowie, our New Zealand leader, and Chris Torrey, and myself just leading a teaching session. And over 60 people attended the training during the week, and on the Friday night we went out and made Jade's feet at 22 homes, and 31 people heard the gospel, and 26 people put their faith in Christ. And of course that experience ignited the whole church, and they've pursuing EE strongly, and we're expecting to see great things happen there. Fiji, a major, again, a highlight a little bit later in this year. Nikiti, our MDS, is going to take a team of 3 others across to American Samoa and Western Samoa to run the clinic and meet pastors and promote the work. We've got excellent contacts in both those nations. I was in American Samoa probably 3 years ago and met with pastors there, and a lot of interest, but never quite got off the ground at that point, but in God's timing. So that's they are very excited to go there, and the funds are being raised, and they'll be off fairly soon to do that. And so you might pray for them as they establish some good contacts and get the work started. For Australia, just very quickly, again a highlight, Peter McCutcheon is our state or New Queensland State Coordinator for XEE, and Peter is an outstanding individual. I've never seen anybody quite like Peter as an evangelist. You have to see him to believe it, but he's doing great work up in Queensland. But also a little bit in New South Wales, we had an interesting opportunity from the Korean churches in Sydney, who have a vision to reach not just Koreans in Sydney, but all of the Asians. And they want to use XEE. So Peter came down and brought some of his friends with him, and they ran a workshop, and it went very, very well. So we're expecting some really good things amongst the Korean churches using XEE in Australia. But a challenge for us is we need obviously to replace Frank Alexander as our MBS, so we're looking and praying for someone to have overall leadership for it, and also to pray for a Hope for Kids leader as well. So there's some opportunities. And the last one is just quickly going to the Solomon Islands. They too took part in the Weavers program, and you can see some results there on the screen. Again, at least this is kind of back to back with New Guinea. And as I said, like New Guinea, most people live in villages in remote islands, and it seems that Weavers is going to be a really good tool to reach folk who just simply don't read. It's very much an oral society. So they're just some of the little snapshots, little highlights that have happened during this year so far. So thank you, and please keep praying for the work, for the MBSs, that they remain faithful and keep their teams moving ahead strongly. So thank you.